Vault 3 was a control vault. It is one of just a few control vaults, and its inhabitants entered the vault just like most of the other vaults in 2077, right as the bomb started to drop. And they decided to get into the vault and hide away. And this vault was supposed to open after 20 years, very similar to Vault 76. Now, the difference here is Vault 3, the inhabitants opened the vault up. They went out into the world and they realized, nope. they noped right out of that. And they said, we're going back in the vault. We're going to close those doors and we're going to try not to have to leave ever. So the information we have about Vault 3 spans the initial assumption that they got in right at the time everyone else did at the beginning of the Great War and stayed in the vault until probably close to 2281. So 200 years later. Now, when we stumble across Vault 3 in Fallout New Vegas, it's been 200 years and the vault is not in great condition. We find out that although the inhabitants tried to stay away from the wasteland, that they were having water problems and they had to leave maybe on multiple occasions in order to go fix the problem and then close the vault back up. And in doing this, they ran into some dangerous individuals. We'll call them fiends. Now, fiends in the wasteland are known for their drugs. They like their jet and their mentats and all the other things that keep them going, which also means that they're violent, just like any other group, and lawless and chaotic. Now, the vault is located just southwest of Camp McCarran, and that might be familiar to you if you played Fallout New Vegas. It's just outside the city limits of New Vegas itself. And when you enter the vault, you notice first thing that there are bodies littering the ground, and they don't look like they've been dead too long. And there's graffiti on the walls and everything looks disheveled. Now, in the context of the game, you can actually get around if you have a speech check or if you are wearing the Great Khan armor, you can actually get into the vault without conflict and walk around and kind of chat with the fiends. But for most of us, we probably ended up killing all the fiends and looting the vault of whatever was left that was valuable. Now, we don't know a whole lot else about the occupants of Vault 3. There's some information left on some of the computers and things, but really they seem like a normal group of individuals who just wanted to stay in their vault, and they stayed there for what must have been generations. And then they had a water leak and they decided they needed to fix it, and they got screwed over by a raider gang. So what we do know is some more information about the fiends themselves. The fiends have little organization except for their occupation of Vault 3, often aimlessly roaming the northern Mojave looking for their next chem score or an innocent wastelander to jump. There's some individuals who are named among the fiends who are part of their leadership, but otherwise they tend to be very chaotic. It also notes here that the fiends attack anyone aside from the Great Khans. And if you've played the games, you know who the Great Khans are. Briefly, the Great Khans are one of the main organized groups of the wasteland. They own large swaths of land. They've been incorporating other raider gangs into their group. Now, the fiends haven't necessarily been incorporated into their group, but they have a relationship with the Great Khans because the Great Khans supply them with chems. And that's their thing. They're a bunch of drugged out chem fiends who are just looking to score their next hit, basically. Other than that, there's not a whole lot of information about the inhabitants of Vault 3. You're welcome to jump into Fallout New Vegas and check it out. Next time on our mini episodes, we will be exploring Vault 8, which was a very important vault and another control vault. And it opened early, and the residents ended up establishing a very interestingly named city. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for listening to the Fallout Lorecast. All sounds and music are owned by Bethesda Softworks, and no copyright infringement is intended. If you have something you'd like to contribute to the show, please contact us at falloutlorecast@gmail.com or follow us and post some messages to us on Twitter at falloutlorecast.